Who is Sweet Baby Ink?
Oh boy, she's back. Let's see what Kim and Sweet Baby Ink has been up to. It's fair to say that nobody likes Sweet Baby Ink, and there's a bunch of reasons why. But I always hold out hope that companies can come back, you know? That maybe things are bad for a while. They start off with good intentions, they lose their way, and then they're redeemed.
Hello.
Hello, mother.
I'm Kim Belair. In my circles, I'm largely considered, I think, a relatively nice person.
I mean, I have no doubt that within her circle, she's a nice person. I mean, they wouldn't be our circles if people didn't like us, right? Your immediate family, if they're in your circle, if you're hanging around them, it must mean that there is a side of you that they like. And it might also be possible, I know this is hard to fathom, but a reason that you may have for hating someone is just one facet of their life. You might not like them because they like, I don't know, Godzilla, and you like Kong instead. And everything else that encompasses that person, if you actually sat down and spoke with them, you'd find that they're pretty cool. And it's kind of stupid to just hate someone just based off of one aspect of their life, except when that one aspect of their life just happens to be ruining most other people's lives. But you know, it's all good because if you're a good painter and you happen to love dogs and children, it's all good, right? Except for that one thing, right? Now, if you're simply just stating your opinion about something and people disagree, that's fine. But then there's a big difference between you liking something other people don't like, you stating your opinion or making fun of something, and then just openly coming out and attacking an entire sphere that people are a part of. I'm not saying she did this, I'm just saying that there is a big difference, and I understand why people would be annoyed. I don't think there's a reason why we should hate this person or not like this person. You can be okay with someone, but you can also criticize what they're doing. Like, some people might hate me straight out, and that's okay. Or you can just not hate me or not like me, but also criticize the way I sound, because I'm annoying, I sound annoying, or things that I like, and that's fine too. However, if I decided that I'm going to weasel my way into something like the Godzilla community, and then I'm just going to make canon a whole bunch of stuff that doesn't make sense to the lore of Godzilla and the kaiju universe or the monsterverse, I can understand why people would be a tad bit more than pissed off at my involvement with certain things.
These are my dogs, Sage and Flaky. These are my cats, Tag and the Gray Boy.
Oh, look at them. Oh, they're so cute. The kitty and the poopas. Kim, what are you doing? What are you doing? I see you're trying to make yourself likable. You're like, you see, I love animals. That's already a point in my book. That's already my point in my book. I mean, but serial killers love their animals too, you know what I mean? Well, actually, no. I think a lot of serial killers start off by killing animals first, if you know what I mean? But still, this is good. She has a heart. She's not a horrible person, right? Damn. Now, it's not her. It's this person's face is jacked up. Good Lord. Art style's horrible in this person. Freaking nasty. You just look at this picture, you think meth.
I really enjoy Lego. I collect skulls and taxidermy, and I also really like playing a lot of video games.
You collect skulls and taxidermy, like animals, right? Not people? People need to be very specific about that. I mean, she showcases, what is this? I thought it was a gorilla at first, but this looks like some kind of canine, but the eyes are on the front, so it could be a baboon or something. I'm not sure. I know how to identify a lot of animals, but the skulls, they really trick you up. Yeah, that's definitely a primate. Look at the eyes in the front. Definitely some kind of baboon ape thing. Not ape, more so monkey. Yeah, that's definitely a baboon, or the thing that Rafiki is. But yeah, when people say they do taxidermy and stuff, make sure, you know, like, it shouldn't have to be said, but nowadays people can be like, ooh, collect skulls. Of what, though?
I really enjoy Lego. I collect skulls and taxidermy, and I also really like playing a lot of video games.
Bro, is this a freaking Tinder profile that she's writing? Like, I guess you're just trying to get people to know you and whatnot, but it almost feels as though like she's advertising herself for dating or something. Nothing wrong with that. It's just, you know, it could be taken different ways, especially out of context.
By day, I am the crazed CEO of Sweet Baby Inc., the DEI-obsessed censorship mafia who is currently ruining and wokeifying all of the video games that you've ever played.
All the things that were mentioned about this wonderful person's personality, her likes, her pets, the things about her you would find interesting, that's what they decide to cheer about? That's what they're celebrating? That's funny. I'm a dog and a cat mom. Look at how interesting I am. I do all this stuff. I play video games. I like Elden Ring. Zero cheering for that whatsoever. No fans in the audience about that. Yeah, people know me as the person who's trying to destroy video gaming culture, and people hate me because they think I'm dismantling everything that they love and hold dear when it comes to the video game industry. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Fuck that shit up. It's such a strange response. Now, before we get any further to this sensational presentation by Kim Belair, whatever her name is, we should probably look into what the whole culmination of the Sweet Baby issue is. There are people who might be watching this video who don't have any idea who Sweet Baby Inc. is, and it can probably get lost in the noise, especially if someone like her is coming out and saying, I'm a big bad wolf, and everyone hates me for no reason, and everyone's like, yeah, how could they hate you? You're such a lovable person. You love dogs. You love to hike. You like playing video games. Why would they feel so threatened by you, right? You know, because Adolf loved dogs too. Like, why would there ever be an issue with him? There is usually a reason why people would collectively hate someone. A lot of the times it has to do with just a misunderstanding and misinformation. And then sometimes there's usually smoke, you know, where there's a fire. Sometimes people don't have enough information. I completely understand that. And like, to be honest, I really don't think at her core that she's a horrible person. I know this is going to come as a stretch to some people, but I don't think that a lot of the people who are doing what they're doing, that they're doing it because they want to be evil. I think in their minds, they actually believe that they're making change for good, but they don't realize that what they're doing is actually harming people. And then, of course, they have people in their circles telling them, these idiots that are coming out against you, the reason why they're doing that is not for the very valid reasons that they're saying. Don't even listen to them. Don't even try to have a conversation. The reason is because they don't like you because you're half black or whatever. That's the reason. You're a woman. They don't like you. And you don't even go any further into what they're saying. You don't sit down and listen to some of the videos that are pointing out exactly what the issue is. They just look at the thumbnails like people often do because they're stupid and can't think past their nose, and assume that the people who are making these sensationalized thumbnails, that the thumbnail is exactly what they mean, is all they have to say. Now, I will agree there are some people out there that just take it too far, and everything is about rage baiting. They just want to hate on things just for the sake of hating on things. However, that's not the majority of people. I watch a channel, and it's a parody channel. Not the I Hate Everything channel, obviously, but there's another one where he just dogs on things. That's part of the joke. That's part of why it's entertaining. And I do the same thing with a lot of the movies or just pop culture things that I see because I like making fun of things. The main thing on my About page is let's make fun of things just because. That's what my channel is mostly. And look, I get it. When I started out, I was doing some of that because of the movie monster stuff. Like, everyone knows me for that. Dumb Movie Mondays. I was doing the dinosaur stuff, the Godzilla stuff, and I was just having fun, right? But I didn't want to just do one thing. That was only one facet of myself. I just do things that are passionate to me. But it is fun to see things and make fun of them because I think it's kind of cathartic to look at life. And instead of being so rage-filled angry, you could just look back and laugh. And I know I get pretty mad when I see stupidity because I become so immersed in things, or when I see things that are overly ridiculous, I will laugh at it, but I'll also get mad in the moment. What the fuck is going on here? Ew. Look how traumatized she looks. Ew, this is so inappropriate. Ew, what the fuck is this game? Why is she sitting between his legs? And you can't tell me she's sitting on his lap. What in the fucking grandfather, dirty priest, slender man, the fuck? This is so, wow, ew, gross. He has no lap to sit. That's so nasty and inappropriate. The fuck is this game? Oh, fuck no. That's nasty. I do not care what the context is for this. Fuck this. No way. What game is this? Is this a movie? I don't know, bro. Maybe it's innocent, but nah. Damn, I just ADD'd so hard. But the point of the matter is, if there is an issue with an industry and you notice there's a correlation with what people are saying, hey, this person is involved in these things in the making of these games, and these games are coming out doing exactly the opposite of what gamers like, and then gamers are being treated as though they haven't been the customers for decades, putting their money into these games. Ew, these games are ugly as, ugh, gross. What is this? Sorry, I keep on freaking losing focus. What was the point I was trying to make? Yeah, Yeah, sometimes there is smoke where there is fire. If you see the correlation between what gamers are saying and certain companies being involved in these things, then yes, it's worth looking into. At the very least, anyway. So to start off on this adventure, someone named Savvy, or Madame Savvy as she calls herself, actually put together a video summarizing all of the issues with Sweet Baby Inc. if people don't know exactly what is going on and why gamers are having an issue with this. She did some freaking FBI work putting all of this together and made it very concise and easy to follow for those who are out of the loop, or simply for those who are missing a whole bunch of context. And all she's saying is, look, I just put the information together. You guys can come to your own conclusions of what you feel. There might be people who don't mind Sweet Baby Inc. that don't think it's that much of a big deal, and there are others that think it's a big deal because it's ruining gaming, and then there's others that are saying, well, if those games end up failing anyway, it doesn't matter because we're still getting successful games. And then there are others who think that this is a bad precedent because more and more games are going to start following suit, and it's important to gatekeep things that people find to be important.
I know my threads are dry, so it's video and visual aid time. All information can be found on my X page through a series of 3 threads at the time of making this. All sources are linked, and it is based off of publicly available information.
By the way, I'm only going to be playing this part of the video and then making some context, so I'm not going to be playing the whole thing straight through. You want to follow her and get everything? Then here's her handle at Madame Savvy.
This all started because a Sweet Baby Inc. employee attempted a harassment campaign against a Brazilian man who goes by Cabrutus, who made a curation list on Steam with publicly available information documenting the games that SBI has worked on. Alyssa wrote an article for Kotaku defending SBI and omitting information about how it started, claiming it was a harassment campaign against SBI. Dr. Cowart wrote a blog post through TakeThis.org linking the Kotaku article. On the TakeThis.org website, they occasionally state they are funded by DHS. TakeThis.org has a partnership with Middlebury College and Logically AI, a data scraping company who wants to redefine the fact-checking business. They are a British-born company who use AI to monitor election misinformation and had a hand in the 2020 USA election. As of 2 years ago, they are partnered with Facebook as a fact-checker. They are also India's #1 fact-checker according to Wiki. These 3 entities received $669,000 from a DHS grant for a 2-year research project to monitor extremism and terrorist recruitment through gaming communities. But TakeThis.org is not directly funded through DHS itself.
Now let's start off with what she says here. I already covered a lot of this too. Well, not as much as she did. She went into complete depth with this. From the beginning, yes, one of the issues was Sweet Baby Inc. really came onto the scene when they had a problem with somebody just stating, these are all of the games that Sweet Baby Inc. had a hand in, like, that they were involved with. That's all the person did. And then you have this person, Chris Kindred, whose profiles literally state that they are an illustrator, writer, and narrative designer, and that they were previously involved with Sweet Baby Inc. This person's name was brought up a lot of times and had an issue with people making that little curation to just simply tell people what Sweet Baby Inc. was already doing on their own website. Their website, which by the way has been completely revamped. They've taken a lot of the featured sections off of it. Now they still show their featured projects, but if you look at how their website looked before, they had more stuff on their website that I guess whoever's in charge of running it or the people they work with just found to be problematic, and I don't see those anymore. Now, when they had this, said founded in 2018, Sweet Baby Inc. is a narrative development and consultation studio based in Montreal and working around the globe. Our mission is to tell better, more empathetic stories while diversifying and enriching the video game industry. We aim to make games more engaging, more fun, more meaningful, and more inclusive for everyone. Whatever the hell that means, because gaming was already super inclusive for everyone. This is not a science. Gaming wasn't introduced to people yesterday. It has been a thing. And it's understandable that from the surface, looking from the outside in, you would see people getting triggered by the words inclusivity and diversity to mean that they're bigots or they're racist people. And yes, I can understand how people would think that, because it's like, we want to have diverse things. Diversity, it's disgusting. Of course, anybody with a working brain or is a decent person, you know, would not have a problem with that. Except, as we've come to know, these words have different meanings now, just like feminism, just like racism, just like bigots, just like the N-word, you know, and when I say the N-word, I mean the 4-letter one. They have different meanings, because now if you want to say that you're one of Adolf's followers or some other word, it usually means that someone's upset at you and you triggered them in some way because you fact-checked them, or you just simply don't agree with what they like or their way of seeing things, and you dare to have a different opinion. Those words have now lost their meaning, or they're now weaponizing those words to sow dissension to people. So yeah, and with the way the media is going, and every time gamers would come out and say things along the lines of, yeah, this game sucks, the media would spin it and sensationalize it and say, it's because there's a black person in it, right? And they're like, what are you talking about? It's because it's a black person. It has to be racist. Like, it can't ever be that the quality of the game is just bad. But now people start to kneel on that, and they're like, you know what? Fuck that. Yeah, sure. It's because of that. Since that's what you want it to be so badly. To the point where now people, and ironically people of every color, start seeing these tokenized characters, and they say this is not real diversity, because gaming, before all of these people, these narcissists started coming in and pretending as though they're somehow lending their heavenly assistance to these gaming companies. They're pretending as though diversity wasn't a thing, that games weren't okay before. Now that has thoroughly become the focus instead of the stories, the character development, the gameplay mechanics. People are just annoyed. They're making all these indie games and forcing these weird narratives that feel very preachy, so you can't even escape into the video gaming world, because a lot of people are using the video gaming platform or medium to spread activism for things that are first world problems that are not even as big an issue as they think it is. For some context, or just as an example, imagine vegans, who are not a majority of the population here, suddenly come out and they make a game about veganism. That's fine, right? But now imagine that same vegan company makes a consultation company, and they're trying to wheel their way and telling gaming companies that, yeah, you need to diversify this and have vegans in every single one of your games. Oh, that's an animal. Someone's wearing a pelt because it's an Ice Age game where these prehistoric humans are using it to keep, warm. You can't have that because that's offensive. We got to be inclusive for those who are vegan, and this is triggering to them. I know it sounds like it is so over the top, but that's kind of what's happening with the gaming industry with a lot of things. It's the whole body positive thing. It's this attempt at these consultation firms to try and convince people who are not white that they are somehow hated by everyone. And people are just tired of it. That's what the whole thing is about. That's what game is. That's not even what they were saying in the beginning, but now the media made it about that. And it's funny because before, nobody was seeing color. Characters were just characters. Now they want people to focus on color, which is where the issue is also stemming from. It's a lot of moving pieces, but that's part of it. And of course, because they don't want to hold conversation, they just automatically default to, it's gotta be because you're racist. Because if we use characters who are not white, so we can hide behind the whole, these people don't like black people or Latino people or Asian people. Now it's not Asian people, because now they don't like Asian people either. These studios, apparently, they don't like Japanese and Korean people, the way they're treating them and criticizing their games that, funny, ironically enough, everybody likes now. And you can also see it because before, when it wasn't even about anything about ethnicity, the games were just sucking. They were shallow. They were made badly. They're extremely uninteresting. I'm not saying that everything, absolutely everything that Sweet Baby Inc. had a hand in different parts. I mean, they might have had writing, illustration, could have been a variety of different things, but I can understand why gamers are like, yeah, if you're going around bullying people or bullying the community or speaking bad about the community, then we don't want to support anything that you're in. So then they just start boycotting everything, and that is their right to do. But then turning around and having one of the Sweet Baby employees say something like, report the fuck out of this group and report the creator since he loves the account so much, just for making a curated list of the games that your own company is involved in, which you already did on your own website. It is bad juju. That's like bad energy right there. That is disgusting. That is not very professional at all. And it just says a lot about Sweet Baby Inc., right? And I didn't see them come out and disavow this person. They seem to be just doubling down on it. So now they have turned against gamers, which, funny enough, I don't know what they thought was going to happen, but it wasn't a good outcome. With all of this, apparently people are saying that Sweet Baby removed this people they specifically collaborated with, and Cabrutus, the person they've made their arch nemesis, along with others, are still calling out their hypocrisy and wondering why, if they were so contented with what they stood for, why they would remove it. Unfortunately for them, business is business, and I have a feeling that they were risking hurting their partnership with people by putting out there that they are responsible for consulting people or having something to do with the making of their game, whether it be a little bit of writing or little tidbits here or there, or even a remote 1%. And you may be wondering if Sweet Baby Inc. has such a minuscule part to play in certain games. As they've said, they have bigger parts in some games and very small parts in others. It's not like they're responsible for making the whole game. When what is the threat? Well, it's like saying if you have one spoiled avocado, it's going to ruin the entire batch. I could be wrong, but it is possible that if Sweet Baby Inc. or companies like it consult on sensitive aspects like narrative or character development, and then steers a story in this direction that doesn't really resonate with the game's target audience, which is most people that aren't them and their very small circle of friends, it's going to turn people off from the experience. Like even really minor changes that they make in dialogue. Remember the whole censorship campaign where things are seen as offensive, so they had to change the dialogue for certain games, or even certain anime, like the English dubs for the anime. The character motivations change, you have to rework the entire thing, and all of that serves to dramatically shift the entire way the game feels, the emotional tone of it, and people pick up on that. Which is the reason that before people even knew about Sweet Baby Inc., they were having an issue with this. People were asking questions like, what is going on with these games? What is the common denominator? And that's when people did research and then found out about this. I definitely would check out the rest of Savvy's videos, I said. Her name is Madam Savvy, if you want to see what she's put together. But anyways, all of that lengthy, seemingly unnecessary discussion aside, let's see what else Kim has to say.
By day, I am the crazed CEO of Sweet Baby Inc., the DEI-obsessed censorship mafia who is currently ruining and wokeifying all of the video games that you've ever played. Thank you. Thank you. It's hard work. If you haven't heard of Sweet Baby Inc., thank you. That's actually how I prefer it. But if you have, it's either because of the over 80 amazing and often award-winning games that we've worked on, or actually one of those, Usual June, was at this very conference.
Okay. I've only heard of 2 of these on the list. The others, I have no idea what they are or why they would have won awards because I've never heard of them. Spider-Man, yeah. God of War, Alan Wake, I think I've heard of that as well. The others, nah. Don't know what they are. Not saying it doesn't make them good games. There are gems out there, but just never heard of them. I feel like these are the type of games that you would have to discover to even know if they're existent.
Award-winning games that we've worked on, or actually one of those, Usual June, was at this very conference. So yeah, you've either heard us from all of these wonderful games, or perhaps you're familiar with the nearly year-long hate campaign that has been waged against us as a team. Unfortunately, today I'm here to talk about that.
Oh boy. Oh boy, oh no. Well, now she's going to explain exactly what's going on. That Sweet Baby is innocent, and it's just us very pesky gamers, or people who are interested and have a passion for gaming, that are the problem. So then she proceeds to tell her sadistic audience what they do.
Of work for video games, and sometimes that means that we come in for writing punch-ups, sometimes that means we're the entire writer's room for a project, sometimes that means we're coming in very, very early on and helping them start the groundwork, the world building. But what I want to really stress is that all of our work focuses very heavily and very seriously on story. That is what narrative development is.
Not too shabby, right? Almost like she's trying to gaslight people into thinking, oh, we're innocent, we're not doing all those other things, you know? Like, look at us. We're trying to make a difference. We're actually the good guys. Even though, you know, we joke around about terrorizing people to do what we want them to do and forcing things into gaming that have always been in there, but the right way, that's not what we're doing. And look, maybe the gaming industry hasn't always been fair. And I'm sure that everybody who wants the job for something or another is going to feel as though they're being treated unfairly because somebody else was picked for the job. Is some of that nepotism? Maybe, yeah. A lot of it, I think, is. But you'd think that people who aren't white just came into existence over the past 10 years, and prior to that, they didn't exist at all. And over the past 10 years, not only did they come into existence, but everybody hates them, and they haven't been doing anything but existing in the vacuums of space. They haven't been given jobs. They haven't been making stories. And that is not the truth. I think it's honestly a disservice to all those people who are good writers and who have been part of projects of successful titles who just happen to be part of these so-called marginalized communities, by making it seem as though you just came into the scene and made allowances for people like this to now shine or take part in these types of occupations.
We started out in 2018, but it was really in 2020 that we kind of came to any kind of industry prominence. And it was on a backdrop of the COVID quarantine sending everybody home from the office. Me Too sweeping through the games industry as various bad actors were named and shamed, appropriately, I should say. And also the Black Lives Matter protests were in full swing. At the time, the industry was kind of responding in the way you might imagine, with a lot of corporate overpromising, but within the writing sphere, there were a lot of offers for portfolio reviews. Like, hey, if you're a marginalized or especially a black dev, we would love to give you a portfolio review. And I want to say I love portfolio reviews. It's something that we also do at Sweet Baby for free. So if anybody in the audience right now is looking for a little bit of a portfolio review or want us to talk about video games, we'd love to do that. But the problem with portfolio reviews is that they also assume that it's a meritocracy, right? They assume the problem is your portfolio and not the fact that maybe there's a lot of other reasons that you are not getting the gig. So
at face value, you would think this is a noble attempt at trying to make things fair. But in another language, you're basically telling people that if you were overlooked or your portfolio was overlooked, yes, it's fair to assume that people hire people based on the meritocracy or your work, what you bring to the table. But if you didn't get chosen, it just has to be. There's a very strong possibility it has nothing to do with your portfolio and everything to do with the way you look. That is the kind of attitude that we are going with. And that is what a lot of people are criticizing, because it's like you're basically telling people that if you just happen to have melanin in your skin and you didn't get a job, or you don't work in the games industry, or you weren't hired at this particular company that you assigned for that has other people that look like you, it has to be because you look like the way you look, even though you look like 20 other people that work in that development group. And then on one hand, it's great, right? It's like, okay, you're giving people equal chances, I get. I hope when they look at people, no matter what color their skin is, that they still hire the person who's good for the job. Like, you have people coming in and will be like, all right, let's see if we can get a gem out of this, because just in case there were some studios or some dev teams that didn't want to hire people based on the color of their skin, which is very rare. It's very understandable why people would be highly skeptical about that, being as people are super sensitive about appearing racist nowadays. But just in case, let's look at it. And if we find out that we have a gem, some kind of visionary who's super talented that people just happen to miss, then we win, right?
knowing that there were a myriad problems to be solved, we created an email called Talk@Sweet Baby Inc., and we just said, hey, if you're a developer who wants to get into the industry, if you're someone who's already in the industry and you want to talk, just talk to us. And so in that year, we ended up with a lot of people who we connected to, and we talked a lot about advocacy, we talked a lot about helping people get into the industry, and we also talked a lot about the importance of telling stories from a variety of perspectives, and especially of having those writers and those creators in the room to help you with that. And as we joined new conversations, as we worked on more projects, more people joined our team. And so in that year, or in those subsequent years, we grew from a team of only 5 to a team of 16 incredibly talented people. And during that time, as you might imagine, a lot of game teams were looking for guidance, both in terms of narrative, but also in terms of learning how to tell diverse stories and feature diverse characters.
I just find it so amusing how incredibly disingenuous people like this are, this Sweet Baby Inc. person, to act like they're pioneers of diversity in storytelling, as if diverse stories didn't exist already in gaming. For years, countless developers, writers, and creators from every walk of life, they have been putting out rich, varied narratives long before Sweet Baby Inc. ever entered on the scene. And to claim that they're helping to create diversity as though it weren't already happening, it honestly comes across as this really hollow attempt to, I'm just gonna say it, ride the wave of social justice trends. And I hate saying this, but virtue signaling, right? They said all of this happened around BLM. It's giving, hey, we love you black people. We're gonna put a black flag in our profile for like a month and then remove it and forget you exist. Like, that's what it's giving. It's like very strange and very fake. Maybe she means it, like I said, maybe it's coming from a good place, but then you hear her in her older talks make it about, oh, we're just gonna shove representation in there like it wasn't already happening.
Just as a kind of fun fact, last year was actually my first GDC, and I first pitched this talk as part of the program Amplifying New Voices, if anyone has heard of it. Yes.
If it's already happening and now you just want to do it for the sake of doing it just because, for no other reason, it is tokenism. And that's going to tick off a lot of people. And it's not just white people who are ticked off about it. It's the communities that you're pandering to. But people aren't listening. They just think that, oh, they don't know what they're talking about. And if it's white people, they're racist. And if it's not white people, what? Can't hear them. No, what people? What melanated people? What? They're saying stuff? No, they're not. They don't exist. Forget that. Upset where? Who are these people who are talking that are not white and saying that they're doing this wrong and that they liked how the games were before and storytelling was great when people weren't trying to trip over their ankles and shove their nose up their colons and just tell stories, you know? But we're weird. We don't know what's going on. We are delusional, but no matter, because Sweet Baby Inc. is here to save us.
I was a kid, and I want to start at the beginning here because I think that it's important to kind of give context to the way I learned about representation as a woman of color, and I think the way that a lot of marginalized people kind of get socialized when it comes to topics like this. I wrote about myself a lot, and I would put myself into a lot of art, into a lot of narratives, and I put my family and people who look like me in all of these cool scenarios. And I was telling all these stories where I got to see myself, I got to see people who look like me, and kind of a rainbow of people who were kind of adjacent to me in a lot of ways.
I would encourage all of you to go and watch her full TED Talk over here because we're awful. We really have to be introspective of how we view Sweet Baby Inc. because they are our saviors. We did not realize how much we erred in video games and seeing video games for the way they were. We were enjoying all these older video games that were telling stories, many different stories from different people's perspectives and different characters' perspectives, but we were wrong.
And so naturally, because we were kind of in that conversation, we helped them. Throughout the years, again, we worked on, as I said, a ton of games. For most of these, we did writing, story development. Sometimes we just kind of came on and did spot checks. But the thing that genuinely made me really, really proud of all of us was that we were living up to the title that I had wanted to. We were becoming true narrative developers, capable of taking on pretty much any task as far as it touched story on any project at any time. And that expertise was a result of all the different kinds of work that we were doing.
We were wrong, and we didn't realize we needed a messiah until Sweet Baby Inc. came into the scene and T-posed as they descended in front of all of us completely nude, and we needed to have licked their feet. But like Jesus, we Pharisees have just rejected them.
As a spoiler, like what happens when you get harassed is it sucks. I can't recommend it. If I had to rate the experience, like...
We stabbed them in the side, we harassed them.
Kind of dig down into this review is, you know, we lost our voice. And we didn't just lose our voice as a collective, we lost our voices individually because people on our team were either hounded off of social media or, you know, they get attacked so consistently that it just becomes frustrating to use. It's not enjoyable to hop on anywhere and get that wave of hate, so...
We did not realize the gift that we had, and we need to see the error of our ways. They have created diversity out of thin air in the past 5 years. We didn't know what diversity was because it didn't exist before then. So how dare we? How dare we? Like, literally, like, we need to start really thinking about ourselves and what we've done wrong. Jeez, I feel like such a sinner right now.
Let alone when, like, Elon Musk is, like, crawling bleary-eyed out of his money pit to tell us that we deserve to go broke. It's a disaster, but what happens when you get harassed is also that you realize all you have is each other. And you can maybe call it trauma bonding, but when there are no prizes and no funds and no vacations as compensation, right, and the only thing you have on your plate is suddenly your widely derided work, you also start to make more space for each other.
How about a nice big cup of shut the fuck up?